Says in this week's PARSHA, famous two psukim. A lot of us say it Friday night before SHMOT. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael SHMOS, v'lases SHMOS v'delois v'desolam, b'nei b'nei Yisrael oisei v'elam. Now, in the beginning of the passage, it says V'shamru b'nei Yisrael SHMOS. The b'nei Yisrael will watch the Shabbos. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael v'lasos es SHMOS. What do those words mean? What does it mean, la'ases Shabbos? How do we translate those words? La'ases Shabbos. So la'ases means to do. So we're watching the Shabbos, or to make. La'ases Shabbos, to make the Shabbos, or making the Shabbos. How do we understand the Pasha Taich? All those words. V'sham b'nei Yisrael Shabbos, la'ases Shabbos, to make the Shabbos. What do we do?
Maybe to observe, maybe, no?
Last means to observe?
No, it doesn't, but maybe.
Shamru.
Make. You make Shabbos. You have to make food, you have to prepare yourself.
So you're watching it to make it, or you make it to watch it?
Watching is observing the mitzvahs.
Right, last is.
And to do is to prepare for Shabbos.
So you're saying, V'shamru b'nei Yisrael is the Shabbos, last is the Shabbos is to prepare for the Shabbos.
Right.
To learn out of order.
Won't be the first time.
Won't be the first time, huh? So I have to share with you a pshat that I saw a couple of years ago in the Ben Yoda, the Ben Ishchai. He's going on the story, the Gemara says, the famous Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara says the story with the KiSisa and Abishur ben Hananya. They gave him to eat something on Shabbos, and he said, "Ma tavshos Shabbos recha noidif." Why is your food on Shabbos? It smells so good, it tastes so good. Amalai said to him, Tavlot echad yesh lanu. We have one spice, famous Gemara, the Shabbos Shemoi, and the name of that spice is Shabbos. Sh'anu matilin l'toicha, we put it into our foods, the reicha noidif, and therefore it smells good. Amar Loi, the Ketch said back to him, Tem lanu amenu, give us some of that spice. So he said, Amalai kol ha-meshamer es ha-Shabbos, anybody that watches the Shabbos, Moyaloi, it works for him. If someone doesn't watch the Shabbos, Einoi Moyaloi, the spice doesn't work for that person. That's the Gemara, famous Gemara. The spice Shabbos, if you're Shem Shabbos, it works.
What Shabbos is that on?
Kufya Tes. Kufya Tes and Shabbos. If you watch the Shabbos, then the spice works for you. If you don't watch the Shabbos, then the spice doesn't work for you. That's the Gemara. So basically, Abishur ben Hananya was telling the KiSisa that I can give you the spice, but it's not going to help you because it's not Shem Shabbos. Says the Ben Yoda with this Gemara, beautiful pshat. He says only if you Shem Shabbos does the spice Shabbos work for you. If you're not Shem Shabbos, then the spice that's called Shabbos, that tavlin, doesn't work for you. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es Shabbos. Klal Yisrael watches the Shabbos, we're Shem Shabbos. Lasso is to make es ha-Shabbos. What does it mean? The spice that's called Shabbos. Lasso is es ha-Shabbos. To make the Shabbos means that spice that's called Shabbos. Because if you're not going to be Shem Shabbos, you're not going to be able to have that spice. So you Shem Shabbos in order lasso is to make es ha-Shabbos, that spice that's called Shabbos. That's what the Ben Ishchai says in that Gemara Kufya Tes. Very interesting shot. It says even more. I always say a joke with this Ben Ishchai, that the more you shave Shabbos, the better your food tastes. It's spicier, right? The Shomer Yisrael is Shabbos. The more you shave Shabbos.
What's the shot? The more you shave Shabbos.
If you're more machmir,
you're more like.
Yeah, you're more machmir or whatever. You know the Allah.
The more you give more chashivas to Shabbos.
More chashivas to give to Shabbos.
So is this about Sephardi and Ashkenaz cooking?
Both Shem Shabbos.
It becomes spicier.
It's your taste.
So there's a saying in Yiddish that says that food tastes according to the gets a blutzich in the gas. It's a cooked in the gas.
That's true, no?
It's cooked in the gas. It gets cooked according to the gas.
Right.
Why do we say that for? Because if it doesn't taste so good, then you think the Baal Bayis is not Shem Shabbos. So we say it's not with the Baal Bayis. Let's throw it on the guest.
Very good. Blame it on the guest.
Blame it on the guest. The guest, you never know what it is. It could be 5 or 6 guests. But it says a very interesting thing. It says the Baruch Ben Yoda.
That makes sense, actually, if you think about it. Why does the same food you eat will taste much better at a Kiddush or Shul than home?
At home?
The taste, for some reason, people are dying for Kiddush.
Be careful.
Oh, man. Oh.
We'll have to censor it. Yeah, okay.
No, but it tastes, people are shocked because there's more people there.
There's more SHMOS Shabbos.
More chashivas there, more everything there. You are not crazy? No.
No, because you're more relaxed.
Chaim, good boy.
Well, the truth is, the same child they eat on Shabbos doesn't taste the same on Sunday.
No.
Right?
Wasn't it a king who asked for that food on Shabbos? I mean, in the middle of the week? That's
the case. That's his case. That's
Only works on
the case.
Shabbos.
Only works on Shabbos. So the Ben Yoda says a very interesting word. He says Shabbos. He spell out the word Shabbos. Shin is Shin Yud Nun. Beis is Beis Yud Sof, and Sof is Taf Yud Vov. You spell out. You take the extras, not the Shin Beis Sof itself. You take out the extra letters, the Yud and the Nun and the Yud and the Sof and the Yud and the Vov. It comes out to 486. And if you add up the letters together, those extra 6 letters, it comes out to 892. Taf Pei Vov plus 6 is Taf Tzadik Beis. That's exact gematria of Tavlin. That's exact gematria of Tavlin. Tavlin is a spice. It says, that's what it says. That's exact gematria of Tavlin. So why are you leaving out the Shin Beis Sof? The main gematria, leaving out the Shin Beis Sof, you take just the Milui, the extras. Because it depends how much is SHMOS Shabbos, and that's hidden. That no one knows about. We take the hidden letters from Shabbos, not the letters that we see, the Shin Beis and the Sof. When you spell it out, you take those hidden letters that are spelled out, and you add them up, then you have Tavlin. Why? Because that's everyone, their own hidden, they know how well they're SHMOS Shabbos, and that's how the Tavlin of Shabbos tastes. That's what the Ben Yoda says. Very interesting word. It says even more. He says, he goes on and on about it. I'll tell you a story he brings down to. He says, Tavshil is a food they make on Shabbos. Tavshil. It says Tavshil, if you read it backwards, is Li Shabbos. To me, is Shabbos. If you want to have a good Shabbos, a Tavshil on Shabbos, you have to have the Li Shabbos. You show me Shabbos, then you have the good Tavlin. That's what he says, the Ben Yoda. And then he says a very interesting story. Because for him in Baghdad, there was once a person who wanted to convert. He wanted to go from Judaism, he wanted to go to become the Ishmaelim, the Arabs. And the way it worked in those days was, if you wanted to go from one religion to the next religion, so the Ishmaelim didn't just accept anybody that wanted to come. They said, you have to make sure you're serious. So part of the process to become an Ishmaeli was you would have to go to one of the Rabbanim of the city and let him try to convince you out of it. And if even after he tried to convince you out of it didn't work, then they accept you. And you have to tell them which rabbi you went to.
It's a Jewish custom.
What?
That's our custom.
Yeah. You see,
They don't have that.
Who the Ishmaelim? No, they accept everybody. But in those days, everybody comes in, they accept. But in those days in Baghdad, he says, they had that custom. If you want to convert from a Jew to a Ishmaeli, to an Arab, you had to go ahead and meet with the rabbi first to try to convince you out of it. And if still it didn't convince you, then they accepted you. So there was one person who wanted to convert, and he went to the rabbi, and the rabbi tried and tried and tried. It didn't work. He left the rabbi's house, and he meets one of his friends. He says, I heard that you're going to convert to become Ishmaeli. He says, yeah. He says to him, if you can convert, I want to tell you one thing. I don't know if you remember, but every Shabbos we have those hard-boiled eggs that we cook in the child on Shabbos. You're going to miss it. I'm telling you now, you're not going to have it if you become Ishmaeli. That was the story.
And because of that, he did.
And, says the Ben Yoda, when he heard that, he says, you know what, you're right. And he changed his mind, and he didn't convert. That's what the Ben Yoda brings down. Now I have two things for this. First of all, I had a question on this Ben Yoda. The Rav wasn't a smart person. The Rav couldn't figure it out to tell him something like that.
But he didn't think about food, he was thinking about gash.
So the answer is, I'll explain it to you with a story. They say a story, there was once a person where there was a pirate of a city, and they told them that the Jews aren't good, they have to get rid of them. And he said he's going to kill all the Jews, but he said, I'll do one thing. If you want, if there's one Jew who could have a debate with the Galach, with the priest, then if he's willing to do that, I'm fine with that, and whoever wins, the other person gets killed on the spot. I mean, if the Jew wins, they'll kill the priest on the spot. If the priest wins, they'll kill the Jew on the spot, and then he won't kill out the Jews. But no one wanted to go, obviously, because everyone was scared. The priest wasn't tippish, he knew his stuff. Everyone was scared to go, and they're trying to figure out who they should send. But this person says he's going to go. Now this person was known as the biggest Amaretz in the city. And he says he's going. Everybody knew this person didn't know how to learn anything. He says he's willing to go to debate the priest. So I was wondering what's going on. But they figured he probably has a cheshbon. His cheshbon is probably, he wants a choice. They kill out the whole city. We might see that fish. So I'm one person. Everyone figured that's what his cheshbon was. You know what's that? Very chashuv person. He's willing to ma'aser nefesh for the whole city. Fine. He goes to the debate. And when they start the debate, they say, you know what? And they saw who was there. Everybody knew that this person had no idea how to learn. So they started laughing and said, hey, you know what? You be the first one to ask the priest a question. But he asked the priest a question. He says, what is the taich of 80 a day? I didn't touch the word 80 a day. So the priest says, I don't know. So the second he said that, they killed him on the spot, and the debate was over. That's what they say in the story. He said, I don't know, and they did. So he comes back to the city, everyone says to him, unbelievable. He said, a smart person, that's a bekeach. How did you figure it out? He says, I know you are for me. I'm not a bekeach, I asked him to have any idea. He said, but how did you figure that out to ask him to have any idea? So in my days there was a chumash called the Beis Yehuda chumash. Beis Yehuda chumash is a Yiddish taich. Yeah, it's a Yiddish taich. Today you would say the story as an optional chumash. So he said, I know you want. I was learning chumash, and it says, Rashi says, brings down the word any idea, and the Beis Yehuda says, ich weiß nicht. Any day I don't know. If the Beis Yehuda doesn't know the taich, the Galach is going to know the taich. That's what he said. That was. What I mean to bring out with the story, sometimes, we try to influence somebody with cheshbonis and with this and with that, and a Pasha Yid sometimes hits the nail on the head sometimes because he's thinking on his lines. He's thinking on his lines. This Amma Oretz here, he was thinking on his lines. He knows his learning chumash. The Beis Yehuda doesn't know the taich. For sure, the Galach is not going to know the taich. So he's going to go. He has a good question for the Galach. The same thing here with the Ma'aser with the Ben Yayadim. This person who went out with his friend and said to him, listen, you're going to miss the egg of the Shabbos. For him, for that person, this whoever it wasn't a big Talmud Chacham, but he had a gefil, as we say in Yiddish. He had a feeling for Shabbos. That was his feeling for Shabbos. And he knew that his feeling for Shabbos meant a lot to him. So he went up to his friend very seriously and said, listen, you're going to miss such an important feeling of Shabbos of the eggs that he had. But you see, every person can have their little, whatever it is, whatever feeling that keeps him going. It doesn't have to be the biggest Talmud Chacham, the biggest sugya. It's a little part that keeps him going. That is enough for him. And he felt that, and he gave it over to his friends. As I say a joke, a guy, when it comes time to Tachman on Thursday, and they give a clap, and they say, Chassan is here, and you skip Tachman, a guy can never have that feeling. That's what it means. You get a clap when you skip Tachman, a guy never has that feeling, right? That's what it means. I eat that. We're skipping a Tachman of Urachim. Sometimes these little nekudas that we have, every person feels inside of him, that little nekuda is what he felt. This Yid in Baghdad felt that little nekuda, and that's what kept him going. And he heard his friend was going to become Ishmaeli, and he said, how could you do that? This geschmack, this feeling you have on Shabbos, how could you lose it? And it's interesting also, this the halacha is supposed to eat chamen on Shabbos. Supposed to eat hot food on Shabbos. And it's brought in halacha similar to Zion. If someone doesn't have hot food on Shabbos, the choshesh is that is a min. Choshesh is an apikoros. Because the apikosim, they didn't have hot food on Shabbos. They dashed in the pasuk differently, and they said that you're not allowed to have hot food on Shabbos. We know you're not allowed to cook on Shabbos, but if you keep the food hot, you're allowed to have it. The Baal Amor in Perek Kira says, "V'yesh oimim ki takona shel Rabbeinu hi la'amig the Shabbos b'cham." Takona of the Rabbeinu to be ma'amig the Shabbos with hot food. V'chol mi she'ein oichel chamen tzarich b'dich acharov. You have to check into him. Why is not eating chamen? Im hu min, maybe he's a min. And he says even more. Im beis, says the Baal Amor, is asko by amamin. If you know a person who didn't eat chamen on Shabbos and he dies, it's asko by amamin. Goyim have to deal with him. Jews don't even deal with him. If he doesn't eat chamen on Shabbos. It's very sharp.
That's severe.
That's severe. That's severe. Well, the Hazmir, a person.
He wasn't from.
Huh?
He didn't know.
Yeah. So that's the question. The question is, sometimes someone doesn't know anything about it, right? How did he know that he's happening? But
but there's someone has a policy not to eat.
Right, but it's even more. If everyone is doing something, huh?
I was just saying, people laugh at me when I say, I have 12 in the summer too, not just in the winter.
You have 12 in the summer. Yeah. No, I'm saying that people that in the summer they won't have anything hot Shabbos morning. It's connected to halacha. Halacha says you're supposed to have something hot, whether it's hot outside, whether it's cold outside, whatever it is. You can have any tafshel cham that you want, you can have. But this that the Jews have challenge on Shabbos, whatever Michael they have, or it's father, it's a different type of Michael, whatever it is, they have something hot on Shabbos, it's not just made up. It's halacha, and this halacha is brought out.
You can fill it with a liquid?
You can fill it with a liquid.
Yeah,
as long as it's something hot. Yeah. As long as it's something hot. As long as you have something hot Shabbos morning. Yeah, you have to make sure that you're keeping something hot over Shabbos and you're using it. The medium said you can't keep something hot.
Nighttime and a daytime halacha, or just?
No, just the daytime.
Just the daytime.
Just at night you don't have to have. At night.
No, but you have one thing at night.
No, the reason is because at night the food could be hot from before Shabbos.
Yeah. Okay.
In the morning, the only way you can have food hot is to keep it hot. So you kept it hot. So that's the Baal Amor. And it's brought down halacha. And every simulation Zion is brought down. If someone doesn't have chamen on Shabbos, to check, make sure he's not a min. Every min in Klai Yisrael, there's more than a min. There's halacha that's brought down. That's the first part of Lashes the Shabbos. Shabbat Yisrael the Shabbos. Lashes is the Shabbos to make the Shabbos with the Ben Yoda one shot to make this tafshil, the spice, the tavlin, of Shabbos. That's the more you say in the Shabbos, and this lav dafka the tavlin. He says the more ruchnistic thing. The more someone's a shem Shabbos, the more he puts his koiches into the Shabbos to be correctly, the more you enjoy the food on Shabbos. The more it's there's a ruchnistic feeling that we have on Shabbos. Everyone has that. Whatever it is for that person, he should work on it. But it's not the pshat the last is a Shabbos. More of a halachadik pshat is there's something called when you makabel Shabbos early. Taste for Shabbos. You can add to the Shabbos. Now, if someone is a Shabbos that watch the Shabbos, how does someone watch Shabbos? How do you come Shabbos? You're not doing malacha on Shabbos. Okay, you're not doing malacha. You're not doing malacha because Allah says you can't do malacha. That's one way of shmira Shabbos. There's another thing called shmira. We find it v'ovav shamar esadavar. Another type of shmira. That's called watching. It's called waiting. There's two types of shmiras in the Torah. One shmira means to watch, and one shamar esadavar means to wait. You're waiting for Shabbos. For Shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbos, Kubim Shal is not that you're watching the Shabbos by not doing malacha. You're waiting for the Shabbos to come. And how do we see if you're waiting for the Shabbos to come? The last verse says the Shabbos to make the Shabbos. How does a person make Shabbos? Shabbos is there. The only way a person can make Shabbos is if he's moist, if you're adding on to the Shabbos. If you add on to the Shabbos, you make Shabbos. That means David gave Shabbos 24 hours. From nightfall to nightfall, He gave us the koich in our own hands if we want we could add to the Shabbos. That's why we make the Shabbos. And why does someone add to the Shabbos? Because v'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbos. You're waiting for the Shabbos. You can't wait for it to come. So what do? The second you have a chance to add on to the Shabbos, you add on to the Shabbos. The famous Baruch from the Summer Rebbe, that he said, the Summer Rav, he said, we say in the Kol Kaddish, when it's me, it's Friday night, Ma'achrim losses min ha-Shabbos, u'maharerim lovoi. You ma'achir to go out of the Shabbos, u'maharerim lovoi, and you quicken to bring in the Shabbos. It should be the opposite. First you bring in the Shabbos, and then you ma'achrim lotzes. So say maharerim lovoi, and then ma'achrim lotzes. Why is it ma'achrim lotzes and maharerim lovoi? So he says, when it comes time Erev Shabbos, the Mekabel Shabbos early, it's no raya that you're doing it because you're Shemer Shabbos and you're waiting for Shabbos and you want to be Mekabel Shabbos early. There's a lot of convenience involved. It's late, so you want to Mekabel Shabbos early, so if you do it earlier, you don't want to eat food so late at night.
Get out of the house.
But,
Get out
of the house, right. When do we see if the person who's being Mekabel Shabbos early is really doing it for the Shabbos?
December.
You look Matzah Shabbos. You look at Matzah Shabbos. If it comes to this man Matzah Shabbos and he's waiting for this man, and then he's doing malacha right away, he's not a ma'achrim lotzais, then it's a raya that the maharim lovva is not for the Shabbos, it's for your own convenience. But when somebody's ma'achrim lotzais Matzah Shabbos, and he doesn't push the Shabbos away, he waits. And it doesn't wait for this man. Even after this man is still keeping Shabbos, then it's a raya, ma'achrim lotzais Shabbos, then the maharim lovva is a raya for the Shabbos also. That's interesting. Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva that if somebody is always Mekabel Shabbos early, is it a Teres Neder? Should be like if someone's Mekabel Shabbos early, so you always being Moisef Michoel al Chodesh, you always being Moisef, you're adding Shabbos. So now, 1 week I don't want to do it. If someone does something 3 times, or double time 3 times, he's not allowed to stop it. So if a person is Mekabel Shabbos early 3 times, he should always have to be Mekabel Shabbos. So he says, the reason why people are Mekabel Shabbos early today, it's not because of Shabbos, it's because of convenience. For convenience, not doing the L'Shem mitzvah, then it's not a raya. That's what he says.
So they could go back and forth.
So you could go back and forth, yeah.
That's what we do in the summertime.
Yeah, so the summertime you go Mekabel Shabbos early, in the winter not. There's a place, there's a shul in New York that they have early Shabbos even in the winter. Like 2:30 in the afternoon, and some people whatever it is. Those people are talking Shemer Shabbos, they're waiting for the Shabbos and they're Mekabel Shabbos early. That's what
There's a group of women, I think, in New York, where it's a show.
Yeah.
Like 34 women, they completely ready for Shabbos by around Chatzos.
And
The house is ready to roll, and then they relax and they have it. They want to bring Shabbos in.
Yeah, people that do that. I know if someone could do that, that's a very chashuv zach.
Right.
But I want to speak 1 minute about what is this that you last of the Shabbos and make the Shabbos and Mekabel Shabbos early and you make the Shabbos. What does that mean? So there's a famous machlokes. I want to go from Baruch to see if I have that much time left. There's a famous machlokes at the end of Hilchis Sukkah. A famous machlokes that has on the Mashal of when someone's moisif Shabbos, he adds on to Shabbos. What are you doing? And the machlokes there starts. If someone Shmini Atzeres, let's say in Eretz Yisrael, you don't sit in the Sukkah Shmini Atzeres, and someone's Mekabel Yom Tov early, he accepts Yom Tov early Shmini Atzeres. So it's a Shana Rabbah. He goes to shul, he davens Ma'ariv for Shmini Atzeres. He comes home, it's light outside. What does he do? Does he sit in the Sukkah or not? It's for him, it's Shmini Atzeres. He accepts the Shmini Atzeres upon himself early.
Can you do that? Can you accept it early, Shmini Atzeres?
We don't do it because of this problem.
Right.
For this, but you could. Every Yom Tov and every Shabbos you accept it upon yourself early. We'll see why. More Shavuos. Every Yom Tov has an exception.
Right.
I think you could. Every Yom Tov has an exception. Shavuos because the Timimais. You know what that means. First day Pesach. You know, because you have to eat the Seder when it's dark outside. You have to start the Abba
Second day Pesach also?
No, but
the second day is Pesach.
You can still bring it in early, as long as you don't make Kiddush till.
Right, but
technically you can still bring Yom
right,
early.
you could. I'm saying you could.
But you need to know.
Right, you have to wait. The reason was anyway you're going to wait for Kiddush.
Can you imagine having an hour and a half off before the Seder?
No, I know.
Take a nap.
Just saying.
But the reason why we don't do it is,
Practically, it doesn't make sense.
yeah, the reason why we don't do it is because if you can daven early, most people go home and start the Seder already. And start the Seder right away. That's why we don't do it, because you can't start Kiddush till it's night. The Sukkot, the first day Sukkot also, it's Tezvav, they go out from Pesach, they have to eat the Kebeya the first week at night, so therefore we're not Makabel Sukkot early. Shmei Teres is for this reason. Rosh Hashanah we don't do it because Tichel Hashanah v'Kil Leisheha. We don't want to mix up the 2 years. So another reason why Rosh Hashanah, the Kippur we don't do it because no one wants to fast extra. So
Complicated, not a lot of that.
Yeah, you have to eat. Yeah, see. The only time that it comes that people are Makabel Yom Tov early is the second days of Pesach. Because there's no reason why not. And a lot of people do it.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, a lot of people do it. Second day Pesach, no reason why not. All the other days have a reason why we don't do it, besides the second day Pesach, second days of Pesach.
Right.
So what happens to Makabel Shmini Atzeres early? He comes from a shul, it's light outside. So what does he do? Does he sit in the sukkah or not? Does he have to sit in the sukkah? It's light outside. So there. So there comes to be machlokes the Taz and the Marshal. The Marshal says, if someone is Makabel Shmini Atzeres early and it comes home, it's light outside, he's still mechuyev to sit in the sukkah. You have to sit in the sukkah. You have to make Kiddush, Shmini Atzeres. Tarta the Sasri, Shmini Atzeres, sukkah. Don't eat till it gets dark. That's what the Marshal says. The Taz says, what do you mean? If you Makabel Yom Tov early, it's not sukkahs anymore.
For you, it's
not sukkahs. For you, it's not sukkahs. It's finished. Sukkah is over with. You hear the Lashon PARSHA also, PARSHA, maybe a different time we'll go into more Baruch, to remind me before Shavuos, before Pesach, we'll go into the whole Machlokes more Baruch. But there's a big nafkamina between the Taz and the Marshal. If we're Makabel Shabbos early, now we're going to change the clock in 2 weeks. So we're Makabel Shabbos early. So you have a chiv to eat Suda Friday night. So you go ahead, and you Makabel Shabbos early, come home and light outside. So Kiddush, everyone agrees you can make. But the question is...
Isn't there an issue about when you make Kiddush? If you accept Shabbos early, you have to do it before...
That's a different reason. That's because of Kriya Shema. That's what difference is because of Kriya Shema.
About when you need to make Kiddush.
Yeah, you have to make it early enough that you shouldn't start a Suda by the time of Kriya Shema starts. For a different reason. But you're allowed to make Kiddush when it's still light outside. Because Kiddush Shabbos, it is. The question is, you eat in the Suda, and you're being Yetzir Suda Shabbos. Could I be Yetzir Suda Shabbos when it's light outside? I have a chiv to eat 3 Sudas on Shabbos. Right. So now, I eat my Suda, and I bench, and it's still light outside. It's Friday. It's not. I made it into Shabbos. So the machlokes, the Taz and the Marshal, same machlokes, Taz and Marshal. So the Marshal says you have to eat another kizayis when it gets dark outside. That's what the Marshal says. Why? Because he holds, even though we'll get into what it means a different time. I don't have time anymore. We're running out of time. Exactly what the machlokes is. But the Marshal says even though you have a right to make it into Shabbos, it's Kedushas Shabbos. It's not 100% Shabbos. You have Kedushas Shabbos on Friday.
You bench the Ritzeh?
Everyone agrees to bench what say. Everyone agrees, and not just that. If it's a Shchodesh on Friday, and you bench and it's still light outside, everyone agrees you want to Yalav Yavin.
Unless you have a Kesize after.
No, it's Friday. Friday is a Shchodesh.
Oh, Friday's Rosh Chodesh.
If Friday is a Shchodesh. No, Friday's a Shchodesh. And you bench, and it's still light outside. Everyone agrees you want to Yalav Yavin, you say, and why we'll have to get this at a different time. This is at least one.
When's the first one? Why wouldn't you do Yalav Yavin?
You don't say. You become Shabbos early.
You're out of Rosh Chodesh.
At night you won't be Rosh Chodesh.
No, not at night. It's still there, so you're benching and it's still there outside.
At night.
But as soon as you accept the Shabbos, you're out of
Rosh Chodesh. Shabbos already.
I got you.
You don't say Yalav Yavin.
Gotcha.
And the question is why not? We'll go into this different time exactly how we split it.
Gotcha. It's
Shabbos or it's Friday. But the Mashal says you're going to have to go ahead and make sure you eat a kazayis when it's dark outside. Right. And the Taz says no. It's not Shabbos. Now it's Shabbos, but it's not Friday anymore. Shabbos is over with. There's a lot of differences between this.
Friday is over with. Friday
is over with, and now it's Shabbos. Therefore, you could be Yetzir Chiyuv of Suda Shabbos. Therefore, you don't have to sit in the sukkah, says the Taz. There's a lot of other things
the same halacha. It's still daylight. You can't touch the light, but you makabel Shabbos. The same.
Right.
The opposite will be the same thing.
Correct. So we'll go through a different time, exactly how we split this. It is Shabbos or it's not Shabbos. For certain things, you have to sit in the sukkah or you have to sit in the sukkah. Go through Baruchas. But that is the last message for Shabbos. If someone says last of Shabbos, you have a way of making Shabbos. How do you make Shabbos? According to the Taz, you're mamash making Shabbos. Now it is Shabbos. Even according to the Mashal, you are making at least Kedusha Shabbos. That's another pshat of Shabbos, last message of Shabbos.